Okay, it is June the 17th, 5 o'clock. This is Budget and Finance. Call the meeting to order. We have taken roll and recorded attendance. Before we approve the agenda, I have somebody who wants to move the budget amendments up under public comments.
I'd like to make that motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, a motion and a second. All those in favor for the agenda change?
Aye.
Okay. All right, with that change, I'd take a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve agenda as
Motion by Ms.
amended.
Jones, as amended.
Second.
Second by Roger. Any discussion? All those in favor by aye?
Aye.
Okay. And public comment. Benton. And they want you at the podium.
I'm gonna try to keep the comments down about 2 minutes, okay?
Yeah.
7 minutes, right? All right, first, I'm not here in any capacity as Manchester Police Department. I'm just still on duty, and I can't get off till 6, so this starts at 5. I watched the Budget and Finance Committee at home live stream after I got off work, and the sheriff and his guys came in and made a very compelling argument that they need to be paid. I don't think anybody at this table believes that they shouldn't be, and that we're going to do everything we can to get them paid. After the 10-cent property tax was agreed and was to be sent to the full commission, I'm sure we all got phone calls or emails or something like that. We don't want property taxes, this, that, and other. Am I for property tax increase? Absolutely not. However, I can tell you as a police officer and for the city, again, I'm not representing the city, I'm representing me as a citizen of the county. What I make with the city is, it pays my bills, but I still have to have a second job also. And to hear the sheriff's guys say that they have to have 3 and 4 jobs and they're delivering groceries and whatever to make ends meet, that hits home. I've also missed ball games and anniversaries and Christmas and stuff trying to work to feed my kids. So I did a little bit of rough math, and I've talked to others, and the sheriff has 17 road deputies. That's no rank, just a road guy, making $19.31 an hour. To put them comparable to what Manchester or Tullahoma makes, they need a 20% raise. Period. They need 20%. That would put them at $23.17 an hour. That would keep them competitive with Manchester and Tullahoma. That way, once the budget's passed, he's not going to have 17 guys going looking for other jobs because the county's not going to support them. They're not going to pay them. So that's $393,089, $890. That's a 20% raise that they've got to have. Nobody wants a property tax, so this is my proposal. Take it, leave it, laugh me out of the room. This is my proposal. I hate to use the word tax, but let's implement a wheel tax per vehicle. The Tennessee Department of Revenue says Coffee County has 55,000 registered cars in this county. At $20 a car, that generates $1.1 million. That gives the sheriff the raises he needs and any other county employee that is behind the times. Mr. Hirschman brought up a point in the last county commission when I said take money out of the fund. We can't sustain it, and we can't. But if you do a wheel tax and you put a time limit on it, that sustains the raises plus a little bit extra more money until the commission can find a revenue stream to take the place of it. My proposal is a 5-year wheel tax, $20 per car. And if this is based on 55,000, I got a number today that says there's 70,487 cars registered in Coffee County. If you do a $10 wheel tax on that, that's 704,000. If you do a $20 wheel tax, that's 1.4 million. That's plenty of money for raises. It doesn't put us in the red. We don't have to dip into the fund balance to pay for raises, and we're good. That's my opinion. However, they need raises. Everybody in here wants to take care of their county employees. I ran on the fact that I wanted to get raises for the guys. I was tired of seeing Coffee County being a round robin with employees. perfect, I'm a police officer. Obviously, I'm wearing the uniform. I work for the city. I get the fact that the sheriff hires them, he trains them, he sends them to school, Tullahoma calls, or Manchester calls, and says, hey, we're gonna give you $23 an hour to come work for us, and now he's back to round one. Trying to find somebody either in the jail or a 19 or 20-year-old kid, 21-year-old, trying to find a job, and then he has to send them back to school. I get it. I campaigned on it. We hire them, we train them, and then we send them somewhere else to make more money. When is it going to stop? At this rate, it's going to. It's got to. I don't even want to bring up benefits. We can attack benefits later. Right now, we're worried about pay raises. So as I said, my proposal, y'all do whatever you want with it. I'm basing this on 55,000 cars. There are some stipulations. I talked to the mayor. I'm going to throw you out of the bus here. He owns 9 cars. Do I think that that is fair to him to have to pay $20 for all 9 of his cars a piece? Absolutely not. My proposal would be the $20 per car and limit it to 4 cars per household. That way, the mayor's not paying an extra $20 per car. The farmer who has maybe 15 or 20 registered vehicles from semis to farm trucks, it's not fair to them either. Y'all work it out. If you, like I said, if you want to laugh me out of the room, that's fine. But my proposal would be for 5 years, $20 a car, limit it to 4 cars per household. It's the fairest tax. It hits every single body in the county. Every person that has a registered vehicle in Coffee County will pay this. Most people live in rented homes. They don't pay property taxes. The homeowner pays property taxes, but the person living in that home does not. In this particular case, if they live in a rented home, they're still paying a tax, for a better term, in Coffee County.
You can go to other counties and beat it.
I'm sure you can. Lake County,
Beat the property tax.
Okay.
property taxes forever.
All
This
right.
is a 5-year term, and it disappears.
A wheel tax has to be approved by the,
2/3 county commission on 2 regular county commission meetings. 2/3 vote. It can pass this month and fail next month, and then we're right back to square one. If you pass a 20% 20-cent property tax increase, it's here until your great grandkids take it, and then whatever increase comes after that. Mr. Hirschman wanted a 10 cent. I understood today that there was a 20-cent idea of it fixing to be floated around. There's a 10 cents is 10 cents. Again, property taxes in Coffee County hadn't went up in 14 years. Are we due? Sure. I'll be the first one to tell you that. I don't care if I get reelected or not. I got elected from this one by the skin of my teeth. Doesn't bother me at all if I don't get reelected. And that's if I decide to run again. But I'm going to tell you this. I stand behind it now, and I'll stand behind it tomorrow. Every county employee deserves a fair living wage. And $19.31 an hour working for the sheriff's department, working 10 and 12 hours a day with a gun in your face, I wouldn't do it. Respect Chad to death, respect Frank to death, but I'd go in their office and put my stuff on their desk and tell you I'm going somewhere else. Because I know I can make more money somewhere else.
thank you.
I'm done.
Okay. If you've looked at the minutes, entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ms. Jones,
Second.
second by Stubblefield.
You got it.
Any kind of changes or updates? Okay. All those in favor by aye?
Aye.
Okay. Mary Ann's not here, but budget amendments, I think April has some. He does. Oh, yeah, we'll have it, yeah.
Thank you.
I've got 2 copies.
All right, well, we still need one over here, though.
Oh, okay, I skip you.
Well, we thought there was 2, but there really would.
Budget Amendment 141, 2025-21. This is a required entry that we make for the State Department State Department pays for our juvenile detention center students and our ACT testing. So this is just an entry that's required to make both the revenue and expenditure side. This is to suffice the comptroller's office, and it does not affect fund balance. Do you want me to do them individually, or?
Yeah, there's three of them, correct?
That's correct. You want to vote on, or do them all together and then vote, or do you want to do them separately?
We can just vote on this one if anybody has any discussion, or first of all, we need approval.
I'll make the motion.
Stubblefield makes a motion,
I'll second it.
Hirschman makes a second. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor by aye.
Aye.
The chair abstains. 22, yes, ma'am.
141, 2025, 22. This is just some cleanup items for our budget. We need to increase our retiree dental and vision line. We purchased some software, and then we need to increase our capital projects for the summer. This does not affect fund balance.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Tina makes a motion,
Second.
second by Stubblefield. Any questions or discussions? This is on 22-22. All those in favor by aye. Chair abstains.
141, 2025, 23. This is the budget amendment for our new salary and benefits for our new director of schools. This also does not affect fund balance.
Okay,
This is just for June. Should add for 1 month
okay.
salary.
This is for who?
And the new director of schools,
The new director.
Mr. Hargrove.
Motion approved.
Motion to approve by Stubblefield.
I second the motion.
Got a second by Laura Nettles. Any discussion? All those in favor by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Chair abstains. Okay,
Thank you.
all right. You're here. Oh, we have Alan Lindley. Yep, he's the first one, I guess. Sorry.
I actually don't have a handout, I'm sorry. Do you guys have my budget amendment?
Nope.
Was it sent to? Okay.
Anyway, so we are $1,200 over on overtime. We're $200 over on part-time. So we're asking to move $1,200 from one of our other line items. I believe it's travel, if I'm thinking correctly, to that overtime line item. And we're asking to move $200, I believe, from maintenance and repair up to that part-time line item, which should even us out.
Okay, I'm gonna read it. I have the numbers here.
Good.
The request increase is for 54410-169 of $270 to increase that line item. The decrease is going to 54410-338, reduction of $270. So that's even there. The next one is the $1,200 of overtime, being increased, which is 54410-187. And it is being transferred out of 54410-355. And they both are equal. So entertain.
That sounds correct.
If anybody wants to do that.
I'll make a motion approved.
Okay, by Tim Brown,
Second.
second by Stubblefield. Any discussion? All those in favor by aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Squared. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Give you time.
Yes, sir.
That's all right. Read it out there.
Alright, so, I've got. Top one is, I just revised the one we're going to use last week, because I've got a payment in. Oh, sorry. Not really. Okay, the top one, we added the matching share to it, that one for the ambulance fund, because I got a 10-care request in, where we have to make a payment to get some money back. So I went ahead and added it in so I could go ahead and pay it this year, because they take forever to process it. So I added third one down, where it says matching share, $16,792. So that brought the fund balance, yes, let's see, increase at 60,223. The new adjusted fund balance, 2,207,850. So that lowered it a little bit for that payment. Those don't always, they're on a different time period than we are, and they don't always match the revenue and the expenditures, so. The next one, this is the general fund, big, long, 4-page. The first section is reductions in expenditures, and then increases to fund balance and or committed funds. At the bottom of the second page, you can see all of those at 599, 916. Just most of it just trying to get a lot of the benefits. You know, I have to budget transfers now, if it involves anything that's a salary item, which is 101 to 210, I have to do a formal budget amendment. That's why Alan needed to come and do his, because he was transferring salary lines. So that's what all those are, you know. Let's see here. And then just the general. But those, like I said, the 2 pages on the top are decreases to expenditures, and then the last 2 are increases. So they're just like transfers.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think if I had anything odd or worth noting. The third page, as usual, you know, county buildings, we always worry about maintenance and repair of the jail. Mostly that's HVAC. Let's see here.
So by doing all this, by cleaning up, there's $386,000 going over to the fund balance?
Yes, that is an increase
Okay.
to the fund balance. Let's see if I saw anything unusual. Lord, I can't remember. Slips, it's it. Nothing really.
Nothing jumps out there.
Pardon?
Nothing jumps big out there. The county buildings, maintenance, repair of the jails,
Yeah.
20,000.
And that's just always to be safe, just in case, you know,
Okay.
we may not spend it.
Anybody questions on that one? You want us to vote on all 3 of them together, y'all?
There's one more at the
One
end.
Okay.
Capital projects. This is for the animal shelter. I went ahead and did this one because when I close out the year, this fund balance is gonna be higher, but I wanted it noted that we were gonna use this, it was noted somewhere in one of our meetings, we were gonna use the sale of our museum property to fund the rest of the animal shelter. So I wanted to go ahead and just put that in a formal amendment in writing.
So that's 1,442,000.
Yes,
Okay.
that's everything, the contractor, the engineer, everything.
Okay. I'd entertain a motion to approve all three of them.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Brown,
I'll second it.
second by Ms. Reed. Any discussions, questions, or comments?
I got a question. Mary
Yeah.
Ann, you got the animal shelter at $1,442,000.
Yes. It's actually, the contractor is actually like 1.8, but I had
Yeah,
already.
it's $1,794,000 before extras.
Plus the addendum, there's one addendum that was added in. It's like 70, brought it up to like 1.8, something, 1.8. I went ahead and added in the addendum in case we did need it, so it was there. And then I already had like 475,000 budgeted originally, so I just added that to it. Because at the time, we weren't sure what it was going to be.
I would take the opportunity to say that the private donors that we were waiting on we did receive a check Monday. So the way I remember it, we have $1,250,000 right now assigned to that project.
Right.
So, just so everybody knows. And this was an anonymous donor, the 250,000, like 500 was anonymous.
That's nice. Okay, any more discussion on the three amendments? All those in favor by aye?
Aye.
All right, now, any new news on the budget?
I got to the point I couldn't even add any more this afternoon. This is, Ms. Dow asked for this, so I made everybody one. I'll tell you what's in it in a minute. I'll keep one. I mean. Everybody have a copy?
It's the same one.
What?
Okay, got it.
It's different than the other one you had.
They're different.
Yeah,
This
there's some different
This should be
numbers on it.
dated June 17th. The date is-
You want the one 17th, it's got some different numbers on it.
But this does not have the pay increase with it.
I'll tell
I'll be
you what.
quiet.
Okay. So, still have the estimated fund balance, June 30th, 2025, the $10,983,915. And then this adds in the 10 cents tax increase that was added at the last meeting. So that brings revenues up to $30,443,028. And then expenditures, it's $31,052,889. So that brings the fund balance to $609,861 as still a negative. So what that was, it only has the 5% salary increase in there, took out the 50,000 out of the sheriff's budget, capital projects, some larger items, took out the enterprise lease payments. I can make those over in the general debt service, added back the 450 for the deputies, because when he was talking about the SRO, there's a different way of funding that, not reducing salaries like that. And then, all that I can remember. that? What's that?
The volunteer fire department.
Smoke detector program, 250,000.
That's over in rural capital projects.
That won't help.
It's not in the general fund. So, the only thing that's in there is the normal contribution to the volunteer fire departments, the 500,000. Yeah. And I can tell you where that's at in a minute. So, I believe that's everything. Let me see.
Still need to stop the
So that's what I had. That leaves the fund balance between our restricted and committed and our unassigned, detailed down there on the bottom. $10,374,054. And then I went ahead and left the salary increases things in there.
Okay, so at 609, that's got 5% in it already.
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question, Mariana. The
Sure.
estimated revenues for 2026, did I hear you say that includes the 10-cent property tax?
It's
or
on the
not?
revenues. Yes, 30,443,000. Yes.
You used the 10-cent increase to
Yes.
come up with that number? Okay.
Yes.
He has a question that I don't have an answer for, and it's sort of interesting question
Okay.
too. The current property tax of $755,000 paid to general debt service, does that have to go in there every year? I'm sorry.
You talking about the
Mhm.
5 cents or whatever it is?
Right, because of
The
your,
current property tax?
No, you can reduce it.
Well, he was just saying that there's $14 million down here.
I know.
right,
Yeah, I get what
that's
you,
fine.
no, you just make that zero and you take the whatever.
Could it be used for the general fund
You
for a
can-
year?
Yeah, it's all in the uniform tax rate. Any of those you can use.
For 1 year or something?
For a couple, get this one.
The $14 million, what do we pay down debt with that? The
Right.
bonds and stuff?
Yes. And I'm trying to think, I don't think I added, I'm gonna add in the enterprise leases, so that'll be a little bit of a,
So that would drop it a little bit.
yeah, $300,000.
Okay.
I'm not sure if I brought.
Off of the general debt service?
Yes,
Okay.
and the expenditure side, I added it, I don't think I brought a new copy, but,
How much do you think we could take it out of?
yeah, you can reduce any of those.
Mr.
But-
Chambers, would you please
but-
share that information with
But I do wanna say.
your fellow
Yeah.
commissioners?
Listen,
Yeah, that's
We can use what we pay for debt as a credit when we pay for the TIF program, the new one that's going to be starting in a couple of years. I don't think I don't think it's gonna be starting right next year, is it?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
I don't think
so,
they're planning on starting until fall.
so if you put it to zero, you can't use that
Oh, okay,
as
so
a
you'd have to have,
credit.
you'd have to have money there to pay for the TIF money coming back.
What you pay on debt service is a credit from what that actual check we write and pay to the, Tullahoma area, whatever it's called. That's what I'm saying. Whatever your pennies are, use that a credit in the calculation as to what you pay back on the TIF.
What it is, the, line 151, Fund 151, in our packet that Mary Ann has given us. It is the, revenues and expenditures that are available. We're putting in $755,000 into it. It already has a balance of 14 million in it. And I was just making a suggestion of
What line item you on?
It's the debt service.
It's page
It's,
31.
40110. Page 31.
31 in our book, ain't it?
31 in our book, yes. You with me?
Almost
have a-
nearly.
$14 million
I'm getting there.
balance in that category, and what I'm looking at is the input that we're putting into it of 755. And to reduce that number for a year or two, whatever might come recommended by our.
So you wanna reduce it, but where do you wanna put it at?
And to take care of,
General fund?
yeah, put it in the general fund to
Yeah,
knock down this amount that we owe.
4.5 cents, general debt pennies on the uniform tax rate. That, make that zero and you move it down to,
$755,000. Yeah, that's a good find,
But you would have to
Commissioner.
have money there next year also to help pay that tip back, correct?
That's correct.
you don't have to,
Right.
but that is a credit you can take
Okay.
on the tip. Cause you're gonna take the growth and then whatever the growth is from the year you started to the year it goes up, you pay them the difference. You write a check back to the TAEDC. Every year you write a check back. I'm just saying though, but there is a credit allowed for any debt that you pay. So you get that 4.5 cents. I just wanna note that we just wouldn't get it, probably be able to use the credit next year. If you put it at zero, obviously, if it's at zero, then you can't use it as a credit.
So would
That's all I'm saying.
would we lose there, or
No.
you just have to pay the TIF out of something else?
No, you still pay the TIF out of the general fund,
Okay.
but you get a credit for whatever you pay in, debt service.
Okay.
That 4.5 cents on whatever property we're looking at. I just wanna point that out. So when we don't have it, then we do have it, whatever. But yeah, you can move it.
But it wouldn't cost us any more money.
No.
Okay. All right.
No, you would just want to have the current taxes going in there. You
Okay.
don't only have the delinquent
Yeah.
and all that.
That's a suggestion.
Yeah. We've
That's a
moved
big-
them,
yeah,
we've
that's
had
a
to
big
move them
one.
around before. But, anyway.
Okay, to me, I'm on this worksheet she handed out. This one right here. It already has the 10-cent tax increase in it as the revenue side. This is the sheet that Miranda just handed out. It already states, and this is with a 5% increase for our employees, we would be $609,861 in the red. If you jump it to 7% straight across, we would be in the deficit of $917,492. And that's 7% on a 10-cent tax increase. And if you take Mr. Chambers' $755,000 and drop that out of there, you're under $200,000 in the hole. In fact, you're $162,492 in the hole.
What would that be with the 10 cent off of that?
The 10 cents off of it?
Yeah.
What else I got here? Let me write this down. 162, 492. $30,000,000, 443. Point, right at 2.5 million in the hole without the 10 cents.
I'd like to say something. I know, we've been talking about the raises and everything, and I know nobody wants property tax, nobody wants tax increases at all, but, and everybody, I wish everybody could get raises, but I do wanna say that I think that the certified deputies, the certified officers, I'd like to see them go to a $3 raise along with a 5% for everybody else to get them where they need to be. Like, just the certified officers.
Is that the 17 of them?
17.
No, I think there's more than 17 that are certified. How much are they?
52.
Oh. I didn't know there was 52 certified
Yeah, he
officers.
was saying 17.
No, we're just talking about the deputies.
Mhm.
Mr. Chairman, could we ask the sheriff or his representative
Sure.
to tell us exactly what it would take
Yep.
for parity with the city police departments?
Frank?
What do we need to do that will bring you even?
Well, to bring them, can I say something real quick? Before you start, Frank?
Yes, sir.
Just to bring them even with, Bedford County's at $25 an hour starting pay, and we're at 1940.
40 starting out.
So I think that's unrealistic, okay? Manchester City Police is 2333. Franklin County's 2386. And Tullahoma is at 20, let's see, I've got that here. What is it?
2304.
2304, yes, thank you. 2304. If we gave them $3 an hour, and I'm talking about, all the deputies, the ones that, in that line item,
Yeah.
that'll put them at 2240. Is that quite, kind of right?
That would be a starting deputy.
That'd be a
yes.
starting deputy. If you're gonna have a starting deputy at 2240, I think that's doable. But if they're gonna leave for $1, they're gonna leave for $1. I don't think they're gonna leave very far, but then it gets down to, if they wanna work in Coffee County, they wanna work in Coffee County. If they don't wanna work in Coffee County, they're gonna leave for whatever reason they wanna leave. But I agree with the $3 an hour for the ones that are running the roads. And I know there's more, Frank, that do run that. And you can go ahead and speak. Oh, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
And you're based on road deputies.
Yes. Which is 22 spots, is that correct? We don't have them all filled right now, but
26 if you count the road sergeants.
yeah, if you count the road sergeants, it'd be 26, but I was just counting.
So if you give $3 a raise, that means you're gonna have a couple of road sergeants that's gonna make $30 and a couple make $28. My detectives range anywhere from $22.05
Yeah,
to $26. So you're gonna have road sergeants. Our positions are based on tiers, basically a rank. And if you just give $3 to the road people, you're gonna have investigators who's gonna say, I wanna go back to the road. I don't wanna put up with a caseload for $23 an hour. I'll just go answer calls and hand them off. You can get somebody else to do it. These are tiered based on responsibility and or seniority. So if you mess up those tiers, you're gonna overshadow the lower guys to the guys who've been there a while, because you don't make detective when you're out of the academy. You've got years of experience.
Yeah.
You've got things like that tenure you to become a detective. You don't just get somebody a year out of the academy and say, here's a detective, not in our department anyway. You might some rinky-dink town, but not ours. So if you don't tier it up, and let me tell y'all something, I don't care about me. I don't. I don't care. Sheriff can argue about that, but I'm not gonna sit here and argue about it. Those guys that go out here and work every day, look, I started at $4.25 an hour in 1993, and I was grateful to get it. And I'm grateful for every penny y'all give us. But to ask somebody these day and time to go out here and put on this badge and uniform and go answer calls and knock on the door and don't know if you're gonna come in to your family or not for less than $25 an hour, to me, that's horse crap. And I don't care what town. If I got a teacher who says that, hey, legislation says they've got to make $50,000 a year, they ain't no better than us. And that might get some boos, but they're not. We do a job too. And for $25 an hour, I'm thankful to do it. And I'm grateful to have a job, but
If we did
if
the
you
three,
don't three it up, you're gonna have some folks that's gonna be well out of line.
How many people would it have to be three to keep your tier steps?
There's 52 certified slots. And if you did $3, now this is raw numbers, Mariana does all the taxes and stuff, but you would go up $289,914 off of what last year's payroll would be.
Are you saying 289,000 fixes it?
$289,000 gives you a $3 raise across the board for every certified go out and answer a call deputy that has the potential to go out and answer a call.
All tiers?
All tiers.
all tiers.
And does the tiered positions, equal in the two municipalities? Are you looking at all of those?
If you want I did not get Manchester. Now, you want Tullahoma's tier? If you want Tullahoma's tier, that is, $396,300.94 to the equitable tiers of what they have compared to what we have.
Say again.
Tullahoma's, if you did it off their salary schedule, which I have a copy of, based on our tiers, you're looking at $396,300.94 of raw numbers before taxes and benefits are tacked on. Their patrolman, as of July 1, will start out at $24.07 an hour. Their SROs, $23.14. Sergeants on patrol will make $28.51 an hour. Investigations start out at $21.51 an hour. Their lieutenant, $35.13 an hour. The assistant chief, $40.40 an hour, and the chief will go up to $46.46 an hour if the first three, the lieutenants and above are exempt from overtime. The lieutenant's salary will be $73,075, assistant chief $84,036, and the chief will make $96,642.
So in your opinion, 350, 400,000 will fix this revolving door problem that we have right now?
Our problem, Mayor, yes, it would, and I say that because ours is, we all know what's gonna happen, Mayor, is we're eating ourselves. We're the picture of the snake eating its own tail. As one department gets a raise, the next department fights and gets a raise, and then the next department fights and gets a raise, and it keeps going over and over and over again. There's gonna have to be a limit to where law enforcement in Coffee County reaches a threshold. We can't keep beating ourselves against each other to try to compete. It's one thing to compete for a new officer coming in, but it's another thing to compete for a seasoned officer and drag them with all the time, seniority, and training that you put into it over to another department. Because guess what? They go over to a new department, you don't have to pay for that. You didn't pay for it. We did, if they come from us. If they go to Manchester, Tullahoma, and Manchester citizens didn't have to pay for that. All that training and experience. They got it for free.
I personally would like to see this issue fixed. The 10-cent proposal raises $1.6 million, correct?
Correct.
He's saying a fourth of that could fix the problem. I would like to state, while I got everybody's attention, wheel tax is not a bad idea. What I don't like about it is it takes 2 commission meetings to do it, and people, they have a problem with that. The people that don't own a house that are renting it, they're paying property tax. The landowner, the landlord owns the property, he's paying the property tax, it's figured into the rent. So, as Benton said, you know, it expires in 5 years. I Googled it. There's only been one Tennessee county that ever ended a wheel tax. Once it's in place, it's there. It's really no different than the property tax, in my opinion. So, having said that, the 10 cents that was proposed does a lot of good to fixing the problems. We just got to address them. That's what I think.
When you look at the revenue for this snapshot she sent, it brings us up to $30,443.28. Still puts us in the hole, $609,000, and that's just 5% across the board right there. To recoup that back, you would have to cut out everybody's pay raise, and then, well, you'd have $400,000. You'd have $209,000 to spend on employee raises. But you'd still be $600,000 in the hole. If it takes $400,000 to fix his,
Not if we took Roger's $755,000.
Y'all have any more questions?
I don't.
I mean, I'll keep standing up here if you want to.
Can't do that.
No, I think you need to.
Yeah.
I got a question.
Okay. So, the 609,861, but this is also a 10% property tax increase too. This is still including the 10% property tax
10
increase.
cents.
10 cents, excuse me. 10 pennies. And if you give 5% raise right now that we're doing, and he needs 400,000, which is gonna make it $1 million, and you take Roger's $755 fine off of there, that's $245,000 will be in the hole. After a 10-cent property tax increase and taking the $755 from the general debt service, am I right? Yes. Okay. But that eventually, that's gonna have to go back in there. Cause that's paying down bonds. This is like a Band-Aid with a life preserver. Life preserver.
One-time thing or 2-year thing?
Well, you might be able to do it 2 years, but I mean, you've got to keep that debt service up there because the jail's gotta be paid off. There'll be payments on this building probably. What else we owe on bonds? There's bonds out older than I'll be here. None of us will be here when somebody's bonds are paid off.
The only
There's
thing
14
we
million in
owe
there.
outside of is the train. or the
Train,
train
okay.
fees, Which we can pay that off, by the way.
Next year? Okay. That's something that needs to be considered next year, is to pay that train
I didn't get
off.
to that yet.
Yeah.
That's in my notes.
That'd be just something to come up next year during discussion.
For a couple of years.
Yeah.
Because the balance is 14.
Yeah.
Well, there's some other debts that's being paid off too, ain't the fleet, ain't that being paid off?
Eventually, you can't pay it all at once. They have to be in rotation so many months, and then you can pay it. The older ones, it's, so, they don't need to get any more. let them cycle out, and as they become where you can pay out whatever the balance is, you can do that. It'll take a couple years though.
Frank, one more question. $400,000 should cover that.
That is the raw number before Mariana does tax. Okay.
It's $393,644.
I know.
393,644.
That's tacked over that 400,000?
No.
No, that includes,
I would,
you said $3 an hour, right?
Right.
56.70.
Yep.
No.
You might as well take that number and add 25% to it, you'll be close.
Not just much.
So, no, the first number, Mariana was just given $3. When Mayor asked about Tullahoma,
Fixing it.
to fixing it and getting us, because right now, Tullahoma, there's only a few cents difference. And since I could not get Manchester's, the raw number between last year's budget and the budget that would have the step in tiers, there's a difference of $396,300.
396 what?
300. Yeah, the first number of 289 was just a $3 raise across the board. But this was adjusting for the positions and everything, what Tullahoma's got, how theirs is broke down, which some of ours are lacking.
I've got a comment. We've got other problems, other departments got problems other than the sheriff's department. We got clerks, I got some numbers here. We got clerks that still make $15.68 an hour. And the janitor I asked about the other day, everybody thought they made 18, they make $15.81.
Lower ones, there's two others that make.
And then the convenience center workers is still at $15.73, so I think we still got a lot of problems to fix.
I have a comment as well. We're working forward with these numbers that we're getting, assuming that the full commission is going to vote for a 10-cent property. So we, in my opinion, need to have probably a contingency plan as backup either way.
Let her figure out what this is gonna cost and we'll go.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
446,432.
446, 432. Okay. 446, 432.
And I've got a question. A lot of people ask, how much money does the county actually have? A total number. In CDs and general fund.
Now, all those CDs, investments, they all belong to the funds of the county.
Yeah, but
You
I know.
have to look at a point in time. If you look at the cash versus budgetary, you're not looking at the same thing. That's what gets confusing. You know, when I give y'all that cash flow that I put in the agenda packet for the commission, that's cash. And you have to remember, you're budgeting all of this. So, that's two separate things, but whatever, whatever the cash balances actual are, that's not what your fund balance is.
Yeah, I know that, but
Okay,
I
I
was,
just wanna make that clear, because there's no rainy day money. You can't cash out CDs and put it in a fund, because they all belong to a fund.
yeah. But people ask, what amounts do we
At
have?
the end of May, you have the $87 million.
Okay.
Some of that belongs to Tullahoma City, property taxes, goes to schools. Some of it goes to sales tax, that goes back to the schools. You've got Tullahoma and Manchester in there that is paid back when that monthly check comes in from the Department of Revenue. So those are all kept in a separate fund, so you can see the in and out. So that's all.
And-
Yes.
So and I'm not arguing with you, I'm
No,
just,
no, I
just a
just want
question.
everybody to understand, they keep saying we have.
So,
we don't.
Questions I've been asked, so we don't have the money to pay the 7% pay raise and a 0 cent tax and still come out all, okay.
Not in the general fund.
Gonna be 200 million in the hole,
Anyway, we'll be 200 million in the hole.
and you'll be 200 million plus in the hole.
I don't, I can't figure that out.
Well,
So if we
put
give everybody a
something in that
7% pay raise and 0 on the taxes, we're gonna be 200 million in the hole.
you're gonna be over 200 million in the hole. Am I not correct?
Yep.
Thank you.
I don't
In
see
her,
how-
well, when you add the
Somebody can
budget,
explain that,
everything that
'cause I
went
can
up,
see that.
the snapshot from 2 or 3 weeks ago, we were $2,085,219,
In
and
the hole.
that does not include the pay
200 million. You
raise.
said
It's
200.
2 million.
Okay, 2 million. You
Yeah.
said 200 million.
Oh, I just
2
said 200.
million.
I meant 2 million.
Yeah.
But that does not
I meant
have
2
the pay
million.
raise. When you add the pay raise, if you want to give them 7% that way with no tax increase,
Okay.
you're going to be at 3,150,000.
Yeah.
If you do that. If you want the 7%, it'll go up to 3 million. Okay, what she did a while ago, what Frank did, talked about, and everything else, I added those together. It came up to $1,056,000. I took away Roger's 755,000. Left us with 301, still in the hole with a 10-cent tax increase. Still leaves us 301 in the hole.
So is that what you're recommending, a 10-cent
No.
tax increase? So you say no,
No.
like I do, okay. So I think we can go 300 million in the red because we'll come up with the money in the
No, no.
3 million. 3 million in the red.
We tried 2.1 last year and we're still $952,000 in the hole. It
But
didn't work.
with the growth in Coffee County, I just can't see it.
Okay, you figure up a house is probably gonna generate $2,000 on property taxes at the most.
Pretty good size.
So that's 500 houses to generate $1 million, am I right?
That would be correct.
All right, to generate 3
That's
million.
just, they're just in the county. Are you saying city?
No, it would be county property taxes. You'd have to sell
But not-
500 new homes.
Yeah.
And to get to 3 million, you're going to have 1,500 houses. And I don't see that happening here I hope I'm dead if they generate that many houses.
How many houses we had built this year so far? I think it's close to
3.
500.
I don't think it's that many. I think 200-300 at the most.
I don't think it's that much.
Tim,
I
Yes,
don't-
sir.
those houses don't come without cost.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And that's, I've looked and looked, and I have tried so hard to figure out a way to solve this problem, and there's not. I don't think growing into it, like some people say, that growth's gonna pay for it, because growth does not cover the infrastructure that we have to pay for, schools, roads, ambulances, police chief, the sheriff's department. All that comes at a cost to us. Marchesoni had the idea of the impact fee. That has to be set by the state of Tennessee. Rush Bricken and Senator Janice Bowen would have to introduce that. And another thing about that is, that's a one-time deal. It's not a reoccurring expense, reoccurring revenue. You get that check one time from them and then toodly-doodly, they're gone. You ask about another way besides this. And here's Tim again. Leave it at last year's budget, add $500,000 to it. Let me do some tootling again. Y'all go ahead.
While you're doing your ciphering, some information from the trustee. There is an account with about $35 million in it. That's a fluid account. Our county spends $10 million per month. That's all departments. $10 million a month. That money has to be ready to be spent every month. But when it's not being spent, he has it in an account drawing 4.28% interest. So it's a money that if you want to call that a fund balance, or if you want to call it, there's many names you can put on it, whatever it is, it's a revenue generator the way it is right now. But it has to be there to pay the bills when the bills are due. And that's just one aspect that everybody has to think about if they hear these huge numbers sitting there. It's just not available to take.
There's a reason it takes a lot to operate a county.
It sounds like we've crapped in our nest and ain't no way out of it.
Well, here's
County employees
the-
gotta be paid.
Everybody has to You can't go to the grocery store with $10 in your pocket now and come out with $12 worth of groceries. Everybody, including county government. County government is having to spend more on everything they do, just like all of our individual citizens. So, you know, it's just, it's a reality.
But we're not paying the county employees to catch up with the cost of living. I mean, they're the ones suffering.
Dwight had a thing on the CPI index, didn't you?
I showed him.
Okay. We are up to cost of living for the past 2 years, correct?
We're above
I don't
cost
think
of living since I've been on the commission.
Okay.
And how long have you been on the commission?
Is that a state, survey on that? or
Federal.
Federal survey, okay.
Cost of living.
Federal employees probably get a cost of living, but the county employees don't. Yeah, from the state, but not the low-paid people. I know, the low-paid people's got to be paid, they're not being paid. We got clerks that's been here for 20, 30 years, still way underpaid. Probably new clerks make more than they do, starting out.
If we went, so this is what it was, how would we take away how do we take away the 52 certified nurses?
This is a better,
Non-highest paid clerk has been with the office for 46 years, and she is
this
non-highest
affects
paid.
everybody.
And she should be. So she's dedicated her life to her service, to the service to the county, so,
Yeah.
no, my
Maybe we
starting
need to
pay
cut
is
the
not
longevity payout.
even compared
I
to
just-
Cut the longevity payout and put that back in
Either
the
one's
And
terrible.
then Miss
general
Susan
fund, so we can
Jones,
give them pay raises.
she's been with the clerk's office for 35 years. She's also dedicated the majority of her life
Maybe we need a
to
bonus.
the county.
Hey, she's answering y'all.
And she is paid higher than my starting.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Yes, ma'am.
So, am I wrong on clerks
were
making
wrong.
15 something an hour?
Not in my office. And my starting pay is at 18.
So I guess you're happy with the pay. I need to keep my mouth shut then, don't I?
I mean, I do believe, I believe that we do need to keep moving forward, but in what I've done in the past years and what the commission has done for my office, we've covered a lot of ground in the past 2 years, so, but I do believe we need to keep moving forward, not backwards. If insurance is going up, then I do feel like we're moving backwards. But that's why
Gotta do that. That's a must.
Revenue without.
It's either you do that, it's either you do this.
But the county health insurance for a family is $522 every 2 weeks.
Yeah, you can't afford family insurance.
So it takes half.
You can, the employee themselves benefit, but the family does
Right.
as a family.
Sorry, I can find it on
And
this.
I will say, I am also competing against attorneys' offices, state offices, you know, sometimes judges for employees, so it's a struggle, because I can't compete with those type of competition, basically, that I'm in.
Where you at? When you do that, take a peek. Where you?
All right, Ms. Dow.
Yes, sir.
We'll give you this.
Yes, sir.
All right, this is going back to last year's budget. Adding a 7%, adding 5% pay raise straight across the board, and I'm gonna give you both ways. I'll give you both ways. 5% across the board, $400,000 to fix the sheriff's department pay, $500,000 added for extra expenses because we don't know what's coming due that will go up, like contracts and everything else. Okay? maintenance agreements and everything else, and I come up with God almighty, $30,341,686. Now, going back to my sheet from 2 weeks ago, with no tax increase, our revenue is supposed to be $28,049,000.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes,
So
sir.
you're somewhere, and you take Roger 755. Let me go back and do it again. 30,
28 million.
686 minus 28,049, 946. Okay, $2,291,000 is what you're short.
So you're saying the revenue is 28,000?
Yes,
That's
Last year.
last year's, this is projected revenue, projected revenue for this year with no tax increase. This is what's projected to come in. I used the old sheet from the other night.
28,049,946.
Yep, that's no tax increase. All right.
That just seems like that, I thought that would be higher than that. Is that being conservative, Mariana?
Yes.
Don't ask me.
It's conservative.
Okay.
That's a lot.
And
Then you
how
take
conservative
Rogers,
are we?
you take
10%,
Rogers
20%?
755,000.
I give up.
You take Rogers $755,000. It brings it to $1.5 million that we're short.
Yep.
That's with no tax increase. Goes back to last year's budget, gives the sheriff what he needs, and it gives all employees 5%. And I know everybody needs more money. But you also have mom and dads out there, grandmas and grandpas who are living on a limited income, who have no increase coming to them, or maybe just the CPI, who are taking care of grandchildren and everything else, and their costs have gone up too. And I know they probably only live on a lot. But those are the other people that we have to think about too. If this takes care of the sheriff's department, it stops the bleeding in one department. Then next year, we're gonna have to stop the bleeding in another department because somebody's gonna come up with a comparison with, okay, this is what Rutherford County's doing. I'll use Jenny as an example. What's Rutherford County doing down there? Or Bedford County or Tullahoma City? It shouldn't be that we three compete, Manchester, Tullahoma, and Coffee County for employees, but we do. But that's just something to throw out there. Yeah, I mean, we're still $1.5 million short. But that's also taking $755,000 out of this general debt service for a year or two until we can figure something else back out. That's just something that, I mean, you asked for an alternative to a tax.
Won't be short if you won't be short if you keep the 10-cent.
No, you won't
Tax
be short
buffer.
if, I just don't know if there's enough oomph
I
in the
don't know if
commission to
they'll
do a
do that.
10-cent property tax increase.
We've got to have several choices.
Until you show the people that we need this tax increase. And that's gonna be with cuts to services and stuff. I mean, our federal government's cutting stuff right now. The national parks are closing down campsites. That's a repercussion of cutting money. We could have repercussions here. I don't know what it could be, but it could be less services, times that aren't open all the time. I mean, everybody just asks for what's a different alternative than the other way.
No,
I'd like
5 cents, 800,000.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to see them on.
Dwight,
I want to make a comment.
yes, sir. Let Dwight come speak at the podium.
I'd like to
You're a very
see
smart
all the
man, sir.
choices.
I don't know about that.
I
Yeah, but
do.
it's only gonna cut it in half. But that's close, that's doable. Yeah.
I like your idea, Roger. It sounds good. But when I came on the commission in 18, we owed about $82 million in debt. We worked real hard and we got it down to 60-something million pretty quickly. That interest will eat you up. Don't set it off and say, we'll pay it later. And what happened in one big case was the commission, a number of years ago, put out a bond for 40 years for schools, and they only wanted to pay principal the last 10 years. They wanted to go 30 years or less, some close to that, without paying any principal. That's just crazy. My input, and I'm not part of this committee, but I'm going to vote. I think a 10-cent increase is kind of like a slap in the face. You either need it or you don't. And I'm thinking maybe if we can do what we need to do and not do a increase this year and see what happens, and if it goes into fund balance, I say next year we hit it. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, I agree.
Mariana, when you say you were conservative, were you 20% conservative, 10%? I
She
mean,
will
we're
not
down to
tell
that
you.
right
She will
now.
not put a number on it, I promise
But
you
we
that.
know it's conservative,
Yes, ma'am.
and she has been honest with
Yes.
us about that.
I forgot, I wasn't quite through. And Commissioner Brown mentioned wheel tax. I'm greatly opposed
The other Brown, not me.
against that. I lived in Dyer County for 20 years, and they came along and they said, we need money. The schools need it badly. If you'll give us $5 wheel tax, that'll take care of it. You know what it's costing now? $155 instead of 50. Because once you do that, your legislature can do whatever they want without 2/3 or anything else. So, I'm like Dennis, I got 12 cars and a motorcycle and a bunch of other stuff. That's not right, and it's like Dennis said, everybody's gonna pay property tax, whether you're renting or not. You can't get out of that, but you can get out of the wheel tax, you can go to another county.
Oh, exactly.
Ms.
And you-
Dow, you were asking about was she conservative? She brought a budget amendment tonight to the table.
Yes, sir.
That puts $386,000 back into the general fund. So instead of it being $952,000 short at the end of the year, now it's already down to 500 something. So, yeah, there is, I
Great.
mean, it's,
Some.
Good.
okay, not quite.
Good.
I've already done this.
Okay. In there, okay. I was wrong.
Thank
Yes,
you.
and maybe columns that you have.
That program, 'cause it was just for the code. Not very- I mean, really.
I'd like for them to have it, 'cause they spend.
Well, I'd say I would say if you receive phone calls on the property tax at 10 cents, you think you haven't received phone calls until you do a wheel tax.
Did we not do that?
Yes, you did.
We put on a,
Referendum.
Referendum.
And it got soundly defeated, like 3-1. That's what that's what the voters say. 3-1.
I didn't say a word. I'm just telling you. That was the other Brown.
That other Brown guy.
Yeah, not me. John, did you get
And,
that?
and
That
he,
was the other Brown, not
and he
me.
wants to limit it to 4 per house. When you got,
Outlived. It's-
10 guys living in the same house, that don't work.
I like that.
Okay, anybody more questions or proposals?
I would like to see this with the proposal you just said and the one, so that we could see them side by side
All right.
and take a look, so, I think.
Okay. We're gonna do it right here.
Okay,
Can you make a snapshot like this with last year's budget? I know.
Just saying, you're not gonna save much money, I just wanna put that up, you got too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's your budget, don't cut it.
It's not going to, once you add in all the, just the salary increases, plus all the
Okay,
medical, dental, I'm just saying, I know mine went up 10.
okay.
And I think you would just end up putting it all back in, is what I'm trying to say. I mean, but I'm not, y'all do whatever.
I agree with you.
I agree with you.
But
I agree.
And then
we're
back,
talking about how
All it's gonna
everything's
do is
gone
just
up.
and then back on the original one, when we were recapping it, Tim, I had made a note that said the grants are not even included in those numbers.
Yes, that's everything, I gave y'all.
I got
It's
that.
all in there proposed
It's all
as
in
revenue.
there. Because see, if you look at the way in your revenues, how it'll say, local taxes, and it says fees, and then you go on there and it's got what comes in from the court system, then there's some other fees in there, and then you've got your state grants and your federal grants, so it's all divided out, but that's everything.
I think she's talking about the fire department, the donations that we make, the senior citizen.
Whatever.
That's what that is, that she's talking about.
Okay,
With the,
Because then we said that we expect grants from family court of $600,000.
but.
Yes,
I mean, I'm just saying a note that,
That's already in there, because we have a
I know it
fire
does.
about family.
It's already in there in revenue.
okay.
So it's kind of, you really have to look at your revenue.
Throw it out. I will. I'll
Three-page
second.
sheet for the general fund, that way you can
That's the
see.
one.
'Cause if I don't know if we're gonna get the next year, I don't put it in there.
Yes.
'Cause there's lots of stuff that comes in, we don't know. But that one I do know because it's 5 years. And then you've got some other things.
Yes,
that-
ma'am.
Recurring, I guess I should say.
Which that changes.
So I put everything in there, but
It changes that
what I
number
did
too.
was, if you add,
Is that all right?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
take out the 10 cents,
Oops.
add the general debt service, pennies in there. Add in the 446, 432 for
she's
the
getting it from
sheriff's deputies.
so my question is, for the deputies, is that also including the 5% on top of
I've
that?
left that in there.
Okay.
I mean, I can take it out, but then, you don't have everybody.
Yeah.
Trying not to get worried.
I just wanted to make sure.
Okay, so if you do all that, you end up with a fund balance of 9,472,572.
That's with the 10 cent
Taken out.
taken out.
The general debt, 4.5 cents put in there, adding it to.
Okay, so how much are we robbing out of the debt?
A million.
1.5.
Yeah, 1.5, something.
Okay, let me make sure I have that in. That's about 1.9.
There you go. You gonna be doing that every year?
Mhm.
So I just wanted to
Yeah,
say
what your-
that, and that
yeah, what
leaves
your
all
net-
of
your budget, general
But you
fund.
gambled on how much last year?
2.1.
2.1, so we're close to that
Yeah.
gambling
my
again.
estimate. I don't know yet, because I haven't closed the books, I won't close them till July
Yes, ma'am.
21st.
Eight, 900,000.
So that would be, we would be, if we do no taxes, gave the sheriff his money to do his deputies up to equalize the pay close to, not equal, but close. Everybody gets a 5% pay increase across, correct, every employee. And then Rogers, 755,000 we're taking out, we'd be 1.9 in the hole, somewhere in that area.
And we would stipulate that the 5% is
Yes.
as
yes.
previously discussed, would go to the
Department head can get
department
no more
head.
than 5%, hopefully less. It would be split amongst their employees with an evaluation by
Yes.
the department head to be turned into the mayor of
Yes.
what they did.
Yes,
Well, that
sir.
won't be across the
You don't
board.
have to do,
Yes,
That's not
sir.
across the board then.
Right.
That-
That just needs to be,
well, the 5% pay increase,
Like we
okay,
did
sorry,
last
yeah,
year.
5% like last year, sorry.
okay.
To be distributed. Yes.
What you said there, can we just make
This
that a
amendment.
motion?
I will say this, I'm like Dwight, okay, here's a disclaimer.
Yeah, there's always a disclaimer.
So, using the debt service, putting
And I'm gonna be like Mr. Miller said a while ago, if this doesn't work next year, we're gonna have to raise property tax.
Oh, I agree.
I mean, it's just.
Next year is gonna be twice as hard
Well,
to raise it. Reappraisal season.
So,
at least we've shown the citizenship that we've tried to do it and find it. I mean, if somebody else would like to run and do the other way, that's, we can send anything to the floor you want to.
so the motion is no tax increase. This is off of no tax, no property tax increase. 446 or whatever that figure is to the sheriff's department to make them right. 5% raise on, what we discussed.
Employees, yes.
Employees.
With the department head doing the
Yeah,
evaluations.
and 755 from general debt,
Yes.
to tack onto that. And I wouldn't think that 1 year would be all I would really have the stomach for
That's
doing
all I'm
that.
in for, yeah.
Yeah.
That way we know if we.
Yeah, cause this is gonna compound if it don't.
Oh, yeah, it'll have to stop next year. Everybody has, gonna
The
have to
bleeding,
know.
the bleeding's gonna
That
start.
have
and
to
we're gonna
stop,
figure out
because
what-
when we get to 9 million, that, everybody's going to realize, and
And not last year's budget,
nope,
this year's budget.
this year's budget.
Okay. All right, that's my motion if you can get all that.
Okay,
This year budget,
got a motion by
this year.
Stubblefield.
I'll second it.
And a second by Hirschman. Discussions. Anybody discussions?
I think this is the right thing to do. I think we can go into the full commission next Tuesday night, and like Tim said, we can show that we have worked diligently to be fair and do what, the best that we can with what we have, and I feel good about it. Thank you, Miss Mariana, for your hard work.
I hope so, I'm sorry.
Thank
Okay.
you, Tim, for pulling it together.
I was doing all these side conversations.
All right, we'll vote on this for the mayor speaks unless you got discussion on this.
Yes, I would, I'd like to point out that, I feel like we would probably got 10 votes to approve it with a 10-cent tax increase. But I think everybody is aware of what Tullahoma City has proposed. They're proposing a 20-cent property tax increase. And I really feel sorry for those guys. Had we passed this, that means 30 cents on them. But I felt like it needed to be done to be fiscally responsible. But shoot, everybody says it, eat up that fund balance. Go ahead and eat it up. Then we'll figure out how to put it back later.
Well, I think there needs to be a limit on what you do eat. I don't think it needs, if we see next year that it's not gonna work, we can't keep, people that keep doing that wind up in jail because they write bad checks. We're not physically taking care of business here, so we're running down the fund balance until there's nothing left. That's not right, especially for the kids who come after us. So that's my thing is next year, if we can't figure out another way to do the money, you'll have my vote. Because everybody's had a year to look. When you hear people out there say, hey, you ought to go back and look at the budget, that budget is online. It is online, and there's, if you can find fat in there, I would love to see it. Because it's like she said, we do have the money, but it's set in different parcels to be used different ways. I just use the school budget as one. We have federal money, state money, special ed money, cafeteria money, that 4 different parties go different ways. And you can't rob Peter to pay Paul, and the same thing for her. You can't take money from certain fund balances to pay down general fund stuff here. And when you see that we do have that money, but when we're spending $10 million a month,
Yeah,
that's a lot
we're
of
gonna
money.
spend that.
which I can imagine what Davidson County does, but for Coffee County, I think we get pretty good bang for the buck. I think this will take care of the sheriff's department's departures, which over time cut down training, also retain good employees, and you get customer service from your good employees. And the 5% is more than the state mandated for elected officials. And I know that does not bring our county employees up to where they ought to be if you went out into the industrial world. But everywhere I've met people here in this building or any other building, they are courteous, polite, and they appear to love their job. And they know who I am, and I don't think that I have met one person who does not like their job here. If I do, I'm sorry. I wish they would tell me. But I'm very proud of our employees. I see people in here that smile and wave and talk to me. They're happy, and if they meet the general public that way, we have a great workforce. And I'll be quiet.
I just want to make sure I got the motion right. So, a motion was made to a no tax increase.
Can you speak up?
Yeah,
No tax increase.
no taxing, I'm just making sure the motion was correct. A motion to no tax increase, the sheriff's department, raise for, certified deputies, a 5% raise for county employees, for the department head to divide but not exceed 5% for themselves. 55,078 for debt services for 1 year only. Is that correct?
And that can be pulled again next year.
And then there was a plus 500,000 for extra expenses.
No.
No?
No, that's all
That's
gone.
what I wrote down.
That's
Okay.
all gone, because we're going to this year's budget. That
Okay.
budget that
And
was
for
presented
this
to
year's
you.
budget,
This will
okay.
be 2026 budgets as presented with all the, nominal
This
increases
year's
in it.
budget, okay.
Okay? All right. Everybody ready to vote? All those in favor by aye.
Aye.
Okay. All right. Is everybody good for this going to the floor?
You already voted?
Do we need to go to, do we need to review this one more time before?
Do you want to meet Thursday?
I know we have, but.
I don't think
You're
so.
good.
Don't see?
Okay.
No.
Hang on. Let me ask her first. She's good right now, right?
Thursday's a holiday.
Okay.
I'm
I
good
don't
with
know
it.
how many people
Okay.
show up.
Okay. I
Might not
will.
be wise to do it on
Okay.
Thursday.
All right,
Good with it.
All right, hang
don't
on.
adjourn.
I'm not. I'm gonna go around the room here. Tina.
So we have a work session Monday.
Yes, ma'am.
We'll be able to have those papers ready for Monday to discuss at that,
Which papers?
with the zero tax
With the budget, like it
increase,
is.
the new budget,
What would you like?
whatever you're gonna present to,
Okay,
Tuesday.
Well, I guess what she's talking about is a new one of these.
well, no,
Updated.
I don't know if they'll go for that. They won't go for
At
that.
some point, probably this sheet that just shows the final.
What would y'all like me, cause I.
That might be
I'm trying to make it
easiest.
as easy
Yeah, this
as-
is,
That
All
might
right, hang
This
on.
is what
Miss
works.
Dow, what do you want?
this is what works for me because we can track where we started.
Okay.
Where we have worked through and where we have gotten to.
Is everybody good with that?
Man,
Tim Brown, you good with that?
Just whatever Mariana presents,
Okay.
I mean, that's what we need, that's all.
Well, she won't be there Monday night.
That's the
Okay.
focus. You can let the focus.
Yeah.
it's just a work session.
Now, are you just talking about, you want me to update the one page?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
Okay.
so y'all are gonna have your other pages.
All right, Laura Nettles, anything? Stubblefield, anything? Mr. Hirschman, anything? Mr. Brown?
Yeah, just what she asked.
Mariana,
Just take it to the floor.
anything? Mr. Chambers?
Keep looking for the people.
Okay.
Yes. keep
Mr. Mayor?
This may require amending the agenda, but I need you guys to vote on something tonight.
Okay.
The Tennessee State Legislature, Governor Lee signed on April the 24th of 2025 our ability to increase the severance tax on minerals, and I think we need to adopt that for the tax period that begins on or after July 1, 2025, which will be the 26th budget.
Guys, we're talking.
We have the ability to raise that to 20 cents per ton. Do you know what that is right now, Mariana?
We don't get a whole lot.
It ain't a big amount of money, but 20 cents a ton as opposed, I don't know if we're at 10 cents or 15 cents. But anyway, we need to adopt it.
Okay. Well,
So
we
if
can
you
have a
would,
motion
somebody
to
make a
amend the
motion to adopt
agenda.
Public Chapter 285, House Bill 695.
Motion to amend the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Motion,
Second.
second to amend the agenda. All right. All those in favor by amending the agenda? Aye. All right. What you want to add to the
I
agenda,
want you
Mr.
guys to
Stubblefield?
add the increase of the severance tax paid to Coffee County government from
Okay. Motion to add that
Motion to add that.
Stubblefield,
I'll second it.
second by Hirschman to add it to the agenda. Okay, all those in favor by aye. Aye. All right, now we're to the severance tax on the amended agenda for the second time. All right, any discussion or anything on that on the severance tax? I need a motion to approve the severance tax raise.
Second.
Motion and a second to raise the severance tax to 20 cents because the state of Tennessee says you can. All right, any discussion?
Do you have to do a resolution?
I would think so.
Yeah, it's gotta go to the.
Are you
Forward.
are you gonna do that for next,
Tuesday?
the
For
24th?
Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
The
All the-
amount that's in the budget for this year is 60,000.
Goes to highway.
Goes to the highway
Let me
department.
read this, okay? This is Tennessee Code 677212 is amended by adding the following new subsection, lowercase d. A county legislative body that has authorized a tax under this part may increase the tax rate in accordance with 67-7-203 little lowercase a by adopting a resolution by 2/3 majority vote. The presiding officer of the county legislative body shall deliver a certified copy of the resolution including the tax rate to the Department of Revenue. So we have to do this by a 2/3 vote. I'm gonna have the attorney draw up the resolution so we can go ahead and get it on there next week, hopefully. And in the year 2030, we can up that from 20 cents to 25 cents. In 2035, we can increase it to 30 cents. So every 5 years, we have the ability by resolution to increase.
It's not a lot of money, though. It is little money, but it's not,
Much
yeah.
money.
Severance tax,
Mineral.
Severance tax per ton,
gravel.
Rogers
Gravel,
Grease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gravel price can go up again.
Not that bad. All right, all those in favor by aye? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. The school board is going to do a new budget, correct, April?
Thursday night, we have a
Okay,
special hall meeting
Yeah, that's where.
to adopt a new budget,
Oh, yeah.
does that,
the changes that were recommended from the
us,
committee.
does that need to be brought back, excuse me, does that need to be brought before us?
I can just, are you gonna change expenditures?
It will because I took the debt service out and I made one little, change also, another
Okay.
change on top of that.
I just need to do the budget appropriation resolution. You know how it's got all the lines, all the major categories listed? So if you just, it's the one that's in the budget book. Where's my budget book? You know that I present next week and then they amend it and amend it and amend it. It's gotta be presented next week. Hold on, I'll tell you which one.
All right, while she's doing that, do you want to meet Thursday?
This one that
No?
I put in
Okay.
there.
No, I
Have
think
your
I think we're ready for
budget
this to go to the
broken down
floor.
By major category.
Huh?
I don't need the revenue.
I think it's ready to go.
My revenue changed too because of the changes you guys made.
Okay, I heard you the first part.
Okay, I'm just making that,
This is
both
what the city
sides
has just
changed.
sent out.
Okay,
County
yeah,
official
just
email
tell me what you're gonna, what you do Thursday night. You can tell me Friday morning, okay?
Okay,
To the index
so I don't need to
that
bring
are
it back in here
available.
for.
No.
No,
Not much, but open it.
All right. Any more discussion about anything that's going to the
I
floor?
think that would work.
Thursday night will be canceled. I will call Laura in the morning and cancel Thursday night's meeting. Okay.
So
And-
we'll be there next week.
Each department's change.
Okay, okay.
If this,
Tuesday the 8th.
well, yeah, it will be later on. If it is the 26th, I won't be here. If this goes, there's not gonna be budget amendments or anything by the 26th. Is there?
I'm done.
Okay.
That's what
So you want to cancel the 26th?
I don't see us need having to
Okay,
have
because
one.
there's no
You?
sense in wasting that money.
I don't see us needing to have it on
No.
26.
I think we're good.
It's on.
Well, I added it because I didn't know where this was
Huh?
going.
If it passes, we're good. If it don't pass, we'll meet again.
Okay,
Yeah, unless
I
it
entertain a
doesn't
yes,
pass.
sir.
Wait a minute, what if
Okay.
we don't
What if
pass?
it don't pass, then we don't have to put it back on.
Yeah.
Which we have time though.
Well, he told me it only takes 48 hours to do that, And I will be out of the county
Like the jail.
all next week,
Raise their fee, what they pay.
so,
Don't have to meet.
okay. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Okay, all those in favor by aye.
Aye.
Make sure you turn your microphone off.